Hello! You're watching NNN, or New Nintendo News. This is a gaming show where we keep you up to date with the latest Nintendo related gaming news, and sometimes we also cover PlayStation 5 and Xbox Series X. Don't give it to you! We do, sometimes. On today's show, one of video games' biggest franchises will be hitting our silver screen soon. Oh my god, I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Yes, we'll be taking a look at the latest news from the live action video game adaptation Resident Evil. Video game adaptations, you know we like talking about them on this channel. Resident Evil is one of my most favourite video game franchises of all time. I love it, and I love horror as well.
Great graphics.
So the fact that Hollywood or nobody can really seem to just nail a live-action Resident Evil horror film is mind-blowing to me. Horror is a very popular genre. Everybody likes zombies. Resident Evil is Capcom, one of Capcom's, is it Capcom's most, no, is Capcom's most successful video game? I'm sure it is. But Resident Evil is up there, mate. It's one of the most iconic, revolutionary video games ever.
Chris Redfield. Resident Evil.
Like, put some respect on its name when you make these live action adaptations. The Resident Evil movie franchise is still Sony's most successful video game adaptation till this day. It has grossed a total of $1.2 billion across all its movies. Pardon me, sorry. Commercially, they do quite well, but critically, they always get panned. Critically, like, they just don't do well. These films are not good. Yes, Hollywood has decided once again to take another stab at the Resident Evil franchise, and they will be rebooting it. It's in a bidding war at the moment because there's been a director that's been attached to this latest Resident Evil reboot. That director is none other than Zach Krieger, who is here, I hear you say? Well, he is the director of the breakout smash hit horror film Barbarian. Now, Barbarian is a fantastic horror film. It is one of my favourite horror films that I've seen in the last 5-10 years or so. It's really fun, it's got loads of twists in it, it's actually quite scary, but it's also very funny. If you haven't seen Barbarian, I would implore you to not stop what you're doing and go and watch it now, but definitely go and check that film out, especially if you're a fan of horror films. Anyway, I digress. Reading an article on the Hollywood Reporter, it says, in what seems to have become the first major auction of the year, an intense bidding war is underway for a reboot of Resident Evil. It says 4 studios are elbowing for the win, among them Warner Brothers and Netflix according. Please don't give it to Netflix. Oh my god, please do not give it to Netflix. A couple of years ago, Netflix developed a Resident Evil TV series. It was 6 or 8 episodes. I can't even remember how many episodes it was, but it was the biggest waste of time ever. It just wasn't Resident Evil. It had this split timeline story that didn't really mesh well. It had really unlikable characters. I really detest the main character. The CGI wasn't great at all. It looked cheap. It wasn't scary. The zombies weren't really doing it for me. There was no real big action set pieces. It wasn't great. Please don't give this to Netflix.
So we know what goes on the warning label, right?
Constantine Film, which has held the screen rights to the title since the late 1990s and has been behind the previous movies, will produce the reboot along with PlayStation Productions. Okay, that's great. PlayStation Productions are involved. Hopefully now they can, you know, crack the whip and make sure that the quality is there. Because I'm not going to lie, there's been so many Resident Evil movies over the last 10, 20 years, I think the movie series has been going for. There's been a plethora of Resident Evil movie titles, but none of them can just get it right. I mean, to be honest, the first film started out in the right direction. The first Resident Evil movie with Mila Jovovich, directed by Wes Anderson, which came out in, I don't know, 2002 or something like that. That was good. The original film captured elements of the game pretty well. But then After that, Wes Anderson just went in a crazy direction with the Resident Evil franchise and then brought in superpowers and clones. And I get it, sometimes the Resident Evil series can veer off track and it can be a bit B-movie, a bit cheesy.
Stop it! Don't open that door!
But Chris is...
What is it?
Maybe it's Chris.
But the films just strayed further and further away from that Resident Evil formula.
Is that any way to treat a lady?
They weren't even horror films by the end of it. They were practically a sci-fi film. They were sci-fi films. I need a full terrifying experience. Resident Evil, it should be up there with one of the best horror movie franchises of all time. Hollywood did take another stab at rebooting the Resident Evil movie in 2021, Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City, and to be honest, I kind of like that film just because it was so far removed from the loud, action-orientated sci-fi Resident Evil universe that Wes Anderson had built. This was more a return to its roots. It embraced its survival horror roots. It paid homage to the Resident Evil 1 game. You had all the little Easter eggs in there for the little fans.
Hands! Show me your hands!
The film was a bit more tense. It was a bit more scary. But it still didn't achieve its full potential. We can do better than this. The only thing that I didn't like about Resident Evil Welcome to Raccoon City was that they just rushed everything. They had the Spencer Mansion in there, they had the Raccoon City Police Department in there. They rinsed all the characters, all the set pieces and all the locations in one movie. When you make the Resident Evil movie, I just need you to go back to basics, please. Set it in a house, put some characters in there, fill it with zombies. Make it a really tight, atmospheric, suspenseful, gory, and terrifying zombie movie. They need to get it right this time. I really hope that they can get it right this time. Please get it right. There is so much to the Resident Evil franchise and universe that you could keep this film series going for years. Do prequels, do spin-offs. Like, there are so many different avenues that you can go down. You've just got to get it right. I swear down, Resident Evil could be a dominating force at the box office.
Barry Burton.